Good evening. My name is Praxedes Cotrina. I go by Toyo, and I'm going to be talking about case 1.9 Zappos. Zappos adopted a new management structure called holacracy, where there are no managers but rather titles. This shift has caused confusion and for some employees happiness. 14% of the employees left and the remaining stayed to implement the new process called holacracy. This article is about 4 years old and doesn't give much data on what was the outcome of the implementation of this process at Zappos. However, I do know that Zappos is still using this no boss managerial structure. Zappos is kind of like the flagship for holacracy, but this no boss system, in my view, is not perfect. So questions on the article, what is holacracy? Why is Zappos using bossless work environment? How is this confusing? What are the benefits of holacracy? How is this approach expected to benefit Zappos? What type of leadership will be necessary to give this approach the best chance for success? Holacracy. Method of decentralized management where decision making and authority is given to self-organized teams rather than a top-down management hierarchy. The teams are circles composed of employees who decide to participate in them. One person becomes the lead link. It's kind of like a project manager but with limited authority. The circles decide their role and their governance, and they also track their progress in governance meetings and tactical meetings. Democracy was introduced back in 2007 or 8 by Brian Robertson, a former programmer who had limited managerial experience. So why? And how is this confusing to Zappos? Well, the change is part of Zappos DNA. This online retailer normally likes change and is seeking always for change. So the chief executive, Tony Hsieh, is always looking for changes, and he believes that a bossless management could help sell more shoes, and also it will remove the bottleneck effects of regular management. Now, how is it confusing? Well, people must learn the new rules under the new holacracy constitution. And if you look at this constitution, it's about 30-page document with a bunch of rules on and basics on what is the circle and what's the team and how everything is structured, how everything works. It was confusing for the Zappos people because it was a 3-day orientation, and some people kind of like lost focus and started getting bored and confused. It was also unclear to what will happen to the 269 managers who lost their title of being managers to just regular employees. They don't know if the next year they were going to have their job or even get pay cuts. And for months, the workers, which were approximately 1,500 of them, spent 5 hours per week in meetings. That's approximately 7,500 man hours that were just spent in meetings. And also 210 employees, they just quit and said that this wasn't for them. Now, what are the benefits of holacracy and the benefits for Zappos? Holacracy removes bosses and puts employees in charge. It removes the bottleneck and slow productivity created by management hierarchies. Highly motivated employees can feature their creativity and ingenuity. Sai argues that it increases, or it could increase, agility, efficiency, transparency, innovation, and accountability within the organization. Also, the approach encourages individual team members to take initiative and gives them a process in which their concerns or ideas can be addressed and fulfilled. Now, for Zappos, the benefit is that the employees can work as entrepreneurs, and that will make sales production increase. Thus, the project margins will also increase. Removing the high pay for the managers will also bring costs down. From what I could see, there were some benefits for Zappos. I do know that the company has been purchased by Amazon for $1.2 billion not too long ago, I think a year or 2 years ago. And Jeff Bezos, said that he is going to allow Zappos to keep its autonomy and let them have their current management structure. Now, the leadership type needed for success in this particular model, I think it will probably be a laissez-faire, because under that particular model or type, the leader provides very little guidance. Mr. Shea doesn't have to go to every single team or every single circle and provide them guidance. They kind of like know what they have to do. Now, it also a complete freedom for groups to make decisions. They are autonomous. They can make their own decisions. The groups are expected to solve problems on their own. The leader only provides tools and resources needed. It works well in motivated teams. And creative teams normally value their autonomy. So I think this model could work, provided that all the employees are willing to not only work but increase efficiency. Although Zappos is not planning on changing their structural management at any point, they want to keep with their no boss structure. I don't think this particular model works for, or will be able to work for every organization across. I think probably for a small to medium sized corporations perhaps, but most importantly, if everybody is having or is able to make decisions, then what happens when something goes wrong? Where does the buck stop? And most importantly, it will be hard, or at least challenging under this model, to develop future leaders, because one of the needs for a leader is to lead people. How are we going to develop leaders for them to model the way, or inspire a shared vision, or challenge the process, or enable others to act, or encourage the heart, which are the 5 practices of exemplary leadership? So that would probably be more of a question that I have. You know, this guy who invented this bossless structure didn't have much management experience. And normally, when corporations get bigger, innovation or productivity or employee generally goes down. So, how is Zappos going to structure for that? So, to conclude, I think ideally, right, this um, model might work, but I think putting it into practice is going to be difficult because who makes the tough choices in tough times? Let's say there is a recession and we need to lay off people. Who are we going to lay off? Who's going to make the decision? How many people are we going to cut? So it seems like this holacracy is probably best suited for good times and during growth, but it might be problematic when time comes to make a tough decision. I know you guys cannot ask many questions because this is a recording. Um, Sorry, I am in Bahrain right now as I'm recording this, and I'm gonna be underway while you guys are doing the class. So I would like to get more feedback on your thoughts on this particular bossless structure, which I think um, is not gonna be good for all corporations. Thank you and have a good night.